Hello world, WayofTime here, bringing to you another episode of Factorio. So I haven't been recording much these past few days. I've unfortunately had, well, two things, kind of a double whammy. One, I got a bunch of homework that was shoved upon me. Fourth year project is becoming a bit of a pain in the keister. And also, I have a mild cold, which is turning out to be not as much fun as you'd expect a mild cold to be. Huh, imagine that. It isn't fun at all. So, what we're going to do today is hopefully put the training wheels or training gears back on, hopefully get a few more things done, do some experimentation, maybe do some more research. Well, research is always a good thing. And then move onwards to bigger and badder things. Yes! Lots of batter! Wahaha! Gonna make so many cookies, we will have no clue what to do with them. So today, what I'm gonna experiment with this episode is to, well, maybe the next few episodes, have Alt on for pretty much the entire video so that you will be able to more easily understand what the heck I am doing. So you'll be able to see that this thing over here does inserters, this does microprocessors. Well, not exactly microprocessors, they're kind of big and they don't really process much. More like they process your pain. So, without further ado, let's see what we need to do. We need to continue onwards with our major advancements in technology, and one of them is going to be our plastic creation, which is going to require coal as well as petroleum gas. So we'll have these things work away. Let's see, we'll definitely have enough for everything that we need. The question is, will we have everything for every need? Or, I don't even know what the question is. I'm just a lunatic at this. And mildly crazy / disturbed. Let's actually get our affairs sorted. I think what we need to do is go back up north. Maybe clear a few more trees. I have no clue. And, hey look, water. We have water in them there pipes. And then see what we can do with... As soon as I get unstuck, I'll let you know what we're gonna do. So, the main thing we're going to want to do is use water as well as petroleum and other byproducts to do a variety of different things. For instance, we're going to need a few chemical plants to fuel our ambitions as well as hook ourselves to the power grid. So let's see, I guess the closest one is right here. And then I suppose we'll just bring that in. We're going to need to make a few more of those once we get some chemical plants going to actually further our ambitions. However, what I think we're going to need are a bunch of water pipes. Not just water pipes. If we were to only be able to make water pipes, I think we would have some severe limitations into this game. So we want this, as well as petroleum, to be used for the making of our sulfur needs. So if we bring this over to some location, how do we want to orient this? It'd be lovely if I could have it there and then have the pipes go in here and not have to worry about so many different types of inputs and outputs. But alas, that is not what we're going to be able to do. We're going to have to stick with it the long haul and probably long haul all this junk and throw it in our trunk and hopefully get a bit better. Now we only have like 40 crude worth. We could pipe all of this stuff down here and it might actually prove a bit more beneficial. Say if it was up here, we could pipe all the petroleum, or even if it was like over here, that might actually be a better use of our investments. Yeah, one pipe versus many pipes, and eventually we're going to want to bring this stuff over to different locations. So I suppose what I'll do, yeah, it's probably a good idea to do that. Do just that righto, and we probably have a bunch of crude that we're gonna have to get rid of. What we're also gonna need are a lot of pipes. I think, yeah, making all these into pipes is a good idea. And we're gonna need some more resources. We're gonna need to make more of these. That's not necessary now. So we can actually move something like our chemical plant is it? Here we go. Oil refinery. Have it like that. This would go like this. Of course, things are going to get a lot more complex when we actually do the refinery stuff. And we need even more pipes. Let's grab some more resources because we are not even close. I mean, look at that. The plastics are taking quite a while, so this is going to be a bit of a long trek. So maybe I should prepare a few more things. Maybe, yeah, I'll give a good amount of work on it so that we'd actually be able to do some things. And we're also going to need coal over there. Dagnabbit, be right back! Okay, so an obvious thing is that we don't want to use so many pipes that we break the bank. And also a good thing when you notice that you actually have some pipes in your inventory, however you're kind of too stupid to realize that. And blah 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 words, equations, more equations, and it all equates to the same thing. WayofTime is being a complete dunderhead. But that is okay. I can manage just fine, thank you very much. So, speaking about just fine, what would be finer, if that's even an adequate way to describe this turn of events, is actually to use a bit of a light. Ha! Kind of burdens at this close, you know, retina searing light for everyone. Especially you. Now, I did a bit of exploring, and as you can see, there are two main hotspots that eventually I'm going to have to deal with. One over here, which seems like it's going to be bigger, and one over here, which is smaller than that one. However, it is still kind of scary, and our pollutions are going to eventually... Always a bad idea when you actually accidentally press the unrecord button. Not very good. Now, some other thing we need to do is we need a use for all this light oil and heavy oil. However, we don't actually have any sort of way to process all of it because of unfortunate circumstances, notwithstanding. And speaking about unfortunate circumstances, we appear to be in a bit of a difficult situation with our power. We have to bring the power over here, we have to bring the power over here, we have to have the ability to bring stuff over to these locations. So, for instance, if I were to actually put these the right way, we're going to need to get iron over here. Kind of difficult when you think about it, because all of my stuff is way over there. How am I supposed to get iron over here? If that's even possible. Now, what I think I might have to do is have some sort of temporary chest over here, and eventually when I get some sort of train system up and running, I'll be able to get some other things. Actually, iron isn't here. It's actually coal. However, I do have a nice coal deposit over here. I think that's why I chose this water spot over another one, though I might just be a complete lunatic for even thinking that. Thinking I have a good idea. Preposterous! How's that even possible? I don't know, but I like it. So, I'm thinking, gonna have to bring the stuff. Hey, let me. Can't I have a longer reach? Why can't I place things over here? You'd think that I'd be able to. I'm like Superman or something. Oh, yes, always a good idea to actually shoot your structures. Good job, Way. Good job. You are a miracle worker of modern science, medicines, and algebra. So, let's actually see. What do we do? I think bring coal down there, down up there. I think I like the idea of having the coal travel this direction. And we're gonna have a power line, aren't we? Always good to have a random power line in our random way. Random. So speaking of, we're also going to need to get one of these. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Why are you there? Dum-de-dum. Dum-de-dum. Dum-de-dum-da-dum. Da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Okay, so we'll put our mining rig over here. This will give us a fast amount of coal, and I am using the wrong ones on purpose because CBA? Yeah, CBA. There we go. That'll bring us the coal that we need. We need water and petroleum gas for that. What's it that I need coal for? If it's just water for that. Water and petroleum gas. Ah, plastic! This will eventually be our plastic line. Yes, I forgot. Okay, so that means we are going to... Oh, this is all a little too tight for my taste. Bow chicka bow wow. I don't even know if that was a joke. But I like it. So we're also going to need to have petroleum. We're also going to need water, aren't we? Gonna need a bit more water, so... yes. Let's put another chemical plant up here. That's good. And we're gonna need our petroleum to go like that. And we're also gonna need our... Okay, what are you? Sulfur. We're gonna need our water here. Okay, I don't need to hook in another water line. I just already have one. So there we go. We got our water. And also for sulfur, we need our petrol, which means that we have to basically bring it under this, which doesn't really look too hard. Whoop, that would kind of make it a little more difficult than I envisioned. Just like that. There we go. Now we have petrol. So that's going. We can make sulfur, keyword being can in this case, and we in fact already made a bunch of sulfur. Wow, that's pretty dang quick. How much petrol is in this? None whatsoever right now, because we are still having that heavy oil crisis. Now what we could do with all this is we could make it a bit easier for us by converting all of this oil, basically fracking it all. Frack it! And to do that, unfortunately, we need a bunch of science packs, and we are in no way, shape, or form getting close to that at this moment. But we do need the sulfur, and for the sulfur, basically the sulfur is required for batteries, and it might be something I'd like to ship off for post-production. What are the different things that we are going to need? Let's wait for our plastics. Now, an interesting thing is that it seems like sulfur's only use is to make sulfuric acid. So, sulfuric acid we can make by combining sulfur as well as water. We can also make plastic, so I think if we transport all of the sulfur we produce, we can make things like batteries which require iron and copper at a different location. And all we basically need to bring that's off-site, I'm going to use air quotes there, are the coal. And that's pretty much it. Now, lubrication is something that we will need. And in fact, we can create right now with the heavy oil. However, we have no way to store this. Now we can make a small pump, empty barrel, fill crude oil barrel, and empty it. So this is how we can transport our oil, these three things here. Never had any experience with a small pump. Going to have to... might actually increase the speed that stuff can go at. So, storage tanks. Definitely gonna need a few of those. So we can let that go, and it might be a good idea to maybe look at the idea of doing some locomotives. Now we need some engine units, that's not too bad. And once that's done, we can just easily bring all of this done. Actually, we need to bring that stuff now. I'm thinking, so if we have this and this, we can have everything go. So we need the long arm of the law and a bit of a shorter one, I'd say. Might actually be a good idea to have a bunch of those, you know? For science, witchcraft, wizardry, magic. Generally magic, though. We're gonna need to bring those a bit closer, aren't we? There we go. And there we go. So we just need a bit of power, easily applied. And we need to actually put everything in an accurate location, don't we? It might be helpful, generally speaking. Yeah. So, there. Now we actually have a sulfur and a plastic apparatus. So, how are we going to have our train stops? We're actually going to need to make some of those. However, I think maybe a few sets of these wouldn't go amiss. 1, 2, 3, 4 train stops. I suppose might as well get a bunch of them. You know, get bulk trains. You know, 2 for the price of many. There we go. And then we can experiment with train stops. However, we're gonna need to clear a lot of foliage for this, aren't we? And we're gonna need to expand over time. This is not something we can make perfect right away. I suppose we could make this system perfect right away, however, I don't think that'd actually be a good idea. Speaking of, 32 engines. How many do I need for a locomotive? 15. So there we go. Only take what you need, and we need our steel. There we go, so we can make one of you. We're also going to need to make a few cargo wagons. So what I'm thinking is this. We're going to need to eventually have multiple trains, however we can only safely do one train right now. I'm thinking that we'll expand this way, factory-wise. So we'll want to have an artery that is iron, and an artery that will eventually be steel. We already have the iron artery over here. We could just divert some of the flow and increase the speed capability just simply by like doing this. Let's do that now. As well upgrade the system while we can. Oops, that was a bad idea. There we go. Ta-da! And we probably have no more conveyor belts. That is indeed correct. We have none whatsoever. So let's actually find a few more conveyor belts. Ta-ha! There we go. Let's go. Oh no. I don't know. Okay. I'm thinking that the only real use currently, and I do mean currently, is to bring stuff from our up here and bring it down here for post-processing. So what I'm thinking is maybe make a simple rail system to start with, then we can go for some more complex stuff. Yes. Okay, so here we'll probably only need 2 cargo wagons. And maybe we can make some sort of storehouse for a bunch of oil crude barrels so that we can get that started. I don't know if I want to do that as of yet. I already had a bunch of train stops. What the hell, Way? What the hell? Okay, so this is another one of those things where it'll be dedicated once I actually put it down. So how are we going to want to do this? We're going to want to maybe go around the lake. Yeah, I think going around the lake might be a bit more visually pleasing, might take a bit longer, and I think it's more of, yes. So let's get the basic train station done. Go with a straight amount, and I'm thinking I'll want it to pull in here. Yeah, I'll have it pull in here, and the direction that it wants to go will be down this way, as you can tell, from this way to that way by the arrow. And we'll need to, okay, that's fine and everything. We'll need to now put our locomotive down. Gonna need fuel, so let's view. Can I put you in? I can actually put you in. Great. I did not actually know that. That's terrific. And we'll also place that, link, and link. Then we'll drive you to the station. Let's just add the station. Go to station. Are you already at station? Probably are at station. Or press play, you know. There we go. So where it just stopped is where it ends. Let's remove that station. And now I'll be able to get all the stuff from here and move them to one side of the wagon. I'm thinking that maybe I can also bring a coal vein down here to refuel this, and this will be the refueling station as well. So what are the things I'm going to need? Probably a bunch of fast inserters. I should have a factory to make those. That might be a clever idea later on. Might as well just make them for now and screw the consequences later on. We have those, and we're also going to need a bunch of iron chests. I think we'll go with 10, 5 for each side. And we'll have them, I think we'll have the inserters, since this is a pulling stop, we'll have it go like this. So center, that. Okay, good. And we'll need it to all go into the chest. Now the reason I want to put the chest is so that I'll be able to have it all go into the chest, all the raw resources, raw, and then I don't have to worry about, say, it being completely hogged later, if you even know what I mean. You probably don't. How I mean is that this won't have to basically hold up the train for putting the stuff on conveyor belts. It can instead hold up the train for putting it in the chest, and since the chests have a lot more area that we can work with, I think that's better. Now, I think also I want this to be as minimal as possible, so maybe this will go basically on the same track. So like that. And when working, we're going to basically want to come to the station from this direction. And do we want to basically have it... This is going to be temporary. I'm going to put this here. Maybe put like this. This is where it comes from. However, also have it so that if necessary, this train can instead go this direction, go over here, up, got fuel handling, and go over this way. That might be what I want to do, but I'm not entirely sure how to do it, because we're also going to want stuff to go this way, and obviously the trains will take a bit of a put a damper on the situation. So maybe instead, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna try to... No, I think you guys want to see me meddling with the situation, don't you? Let me get my bearings, and then we'll retry with some other permutation. I think that having stuff go around this way is a lot more non-invasive than having it go the other way. So what I think I'm gonna need is maybe some sort of train track that it'll go up and turn around and go this way instead. How I'm gonna do that is maybe do this, and then basically it will instead route this way if it's here, and route this way instead here. So it basically splits here and can go either direction. So the trains, when they come to the station, will go down this way, do some sort of loop, and come this way. So now here comes the loop part. Need it to basically loop down and around. This might be a little too flowy. Yeah, I'm using too many tracks. Let's get rid of that and basically get rid of these. It's hard to see when you're holding those types of tracks, you know? You probably don't know. You'll find out. Okay, down this way. Maybe. Need it to curve in a tight enough arc that it'll... basically need it to turn like that. So I'm thinking I might have to basically bring it down like this. This is... okay, so basically the problem is I have a big turn that I need to do, so I need to go around, give myself enough room to make the turn. That's why I do that. Do this. And then the turn will eventually end with this. Then it'll go like this, so the only thing I need to do is probably bring this down a bit more. A few more things I need to do, but I'm on the right track. Ha! Ha! Ha ha! Ha! You see why it's funny? It's because he said track. Ha ha! Ha! Oh dear. There, there, there. Dang it, I'm off. Oops, I kind of made a few too many, didn't I? Yeah, probably. So this is gonna make it a little difficult, isn't it? More like if I build it from this direction, it might be a bit better. So I can build it like that, superimpose it, and then it should hopefully not go off track. So supposedly, I could deconstruct this, which I will. Have a bunch of raw wood, but you know, that's my general state of existence. Swap it over here. Basically, add this station. Throw in my wood. And we just want to have this as a trial run to see if it links up directly so that I'd be able to still pull stuff out of here. I'm going to want to go to station, run the train. And it has no path to do so. That's because this train tracks, you know, shoddy construction being what it is. There we go. Wonder what would happen if I get run over by the train. Okay, it made it. So we can stop the train. Remove the track here. And do that. Okay, so now this loop of track is at least done. We also need to contend with the obvious issue of this. Don't want that. And this. And those will be covered by basically conveyor belts being conveying separate meanings of what the heck I'm actually talking about. There we go. And we probably want power here, don't we? Might be helpful. The question is, where do I put all the power? There. There. We'll bring it basically this way to connect. One more. Thank you. Good talk. Okay, now everything, at least there, is connected. Now we're going to need to make some of those tanks to at least store the liquid as a temporary transient measure. Looking purely at the science packs, we need smart inserters, steel plates, advanced circuits, as well as batteries. And the raw is basically batteries and plastic, as well as iron, copper, steel, and a bunch of other stuff. This plastic is used pretty much exclusively for the advanced circuit, so I'm thinking that our lower rung of our factory is going to be dedicated to the procurement of Awesomeness Incarnate. And I'm thinking our temporary storage is going to go over here. Maybe. If I have enough iron. I kind of have enough iron. Okay. So once we craft all that, we're going to want all this. And I'm thinking we'll have temporarily 2 drums per. Now, an interesting thing about these storage tanks that I find, well, interesting, is that they can link up quite well. If you see, they have inputs and outputs. They can be either on both ends, and they're pretty much corners. So you can set it so that it'll go into different tanks, but you can also set it so that it won't flow into adjacent tanks simply by, after a long deconstruction process, doing that. However, it doesn't really help readability unless I were to do something, well, easy enough. There. All we need to do here is maybe use the right thing. Not gonna connect it yet. And then we're gonna probably... You know what? This is annoying. Just out of habit, I'm just gonna overcomplicate things. And have it so that this thing requires that. This will require basically up to here. Not connect yet. Connect. Connect and connect. Okay, there we go. Oops, alt's not on. Now we can see that we have some heavy oil here, we have some light oil here, and it's slowly going into the other tank. It's slowly going into the other tank, and we are quite quickly gathering more and more plastic. Now the thing is that our petroleum appears to be not splitting evenly, or as evenly as I hoped. Also, we're going to need some of... Actually, we only need the sulfur for our sulfuric acid creation, and that's where basically another train station is going to come up. Thinking maybe temporary I can have the train station up here. I'm going to basically need that entire coal vein. I think it's probably bad practice in general to go over top of coal veins. So maybe if I can think of a good way to turn the train around in this small amount? Actually. Okay, one moment. I'll actually make that. Figure that if I do an episode, I might as well do it right. Come on. So what we're going to need to do is basically have this train go incredibly fast by this very sensitive information. I think... sensitive information. Yes, it's a sensitive information, boy. I might as well do it. Alright. Alright, man. Alright. I am not in any way, shape, or form condoning what the heck I just said, if I can even say that was any sort of speech whatsoever. Oh, didn't know that. That would be helpful for very close trains that can probably and will probably kill us. Kill us all, and maybe station decide, yes. Thinking we'll want as big of a station as possible, because, you know, whatever. And then basically probably this. I could probably map it out much more accurately, but this is much more fun. So, then all of it will curve probably the same direction. What I'm thinking is that I'll put 2. Then what will happen is that I'll have 2 curved tracks that'll go together, so it can go like this and through the station and back. And then we'll want to go through the forest of a lot of wood chopping, and then we'll be able to process all of our sulfur and plastics into a much more viable form. Hopefully we can get a better use for this, because frankly having all of this at our disposal doesn't really help when, well, we have no use for it. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Factorio. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. WayofTime here, signing off. Have a wonderful day. And yes, I will connect the rail station next time. Sigh, lots of work ahead of me. Better get started.